It is time for the Australia Cup quarterfinals. 4 huge matchups coming up in the next week. Here's our preview and predictions. We'd love to hear from you guys as well. Feel free to throw your thoughts and feelings on these matches in the comment section. Join the discussion and make sure to subscribe if you want to keep up to date to all the Australia Cup and just general Australian football content that we are doing here on the channel. The A-League season is just a couple months away. The Socceroos are back in action next month. The transfer window only has a few weeks left as well. Heidelberg Utd hosting Wellington Phoenix, Avondale taking on Brisbane City, Sydney FC, Auckland FC, and then Newcastle Jets hosting Macarthur FC. So there's a lot to talk about across these 4 matches and 4 quite evenly balanced fixtures, I have to say. You've obviously just got one fixture out of these 4 games, which is an NPL team versus an A-League team. And that, of course, is our first match, Heidelberg Utd, Wellington Phoenix. Now, I don't think this is a straightforward prediction. And that's why this year's edition in the Cup has been so exciting, because you look at what Heidelberg Utd have provided for us this year, and they've just been fantastic so far in not only the Australia Cup, but they are having a fantastic league season. They've been one of the top teams in NPL Victoria this campaign so far, and they're coming up against a Wellington Phoenix side who, again, are just still sort of, I think, building their side for the upcoming A-League campaign. They just this past week announced the signing of Nikola Miljuznic, another new player arriving at the club, and only just snuck past Nunawading in that round of 16 matchup with a 1-0 win, and they got that penalty shootout victory over Perth Glory back in the round of 32. But Heidelberg Utd coming off that incredible 3-0 victory against Western Sydney Wanderers, who I think a lot of us are viewing as one of the top A-League sides for this upcoming campaign. That was my feeling, at least, at this point in pre-season. But Heidelberg Utd did such a good job of staying organised defensively, and they looked so dangerous on the counter-attack. With them being the home team, I think this is almost the first situation where it feels like the NPL team may well be the favourites here. I think we can almost go as far as saying that. Look, I think Wellington Phoenix will still be very competitive this upcoming A-League season, but they do still have such a young team and are still building that side for the upcoming season. And their 2 performances so far in the Cup haven't necessarily been all that convincing. You know, that 1-1 draw, penalty shootout victory, and a late winner against Nunawading City, who are from the 3rd tier of Victoria. So when they come up against Heidelberg Utd here, one of the top teams in the top tier of Victoria, what's this game going to turn out? I think Giancarlo Italiano is going to need his side to elevate in this game if they are going to get through. So this is a really fascinating matchup to kick off the quarterfinals here. But for all those reasons and what was said there, I am going to favour Heidelberg Utd. I think it will be a close game. Wellington Phoenix will prove a threat in this game, of course. They do have talented players in that team, and some of those young players, I'm sure, are set for huge breakout seasons this coming campaign against Heidelberg Utd, who have just proven their quality time and time again. I think they do get through with that home ground advantage. I'm going to go a 2-1 win for Heidelberg Utd. Who knows, extra time may be required, but I reckon the team from Melbourne do go through here. Our next matchup sees Avondale FC take on Brisbane City. Our only all NPL matchup in the quarterfinals. One of these teams will be in the semi-finals. Avondale FC, I think for me, are the favourites heading into this one. The home ground advantage, again, will play a factor here. They've had a couple home fixtures already in the Cup. And again, one of these teams who are just having a fantastic season in NPL Victoria. Avondale and Heidelberg Utd have both been, 2 of the top competitors in NPL Victoria so far this season. And of course, a team who will be competing in the Australian Championship later this year. Avondale FC, they got past against Sterling Macedonia and Apia Leichhardt in the Cup. For Brisbane City so far, they had a couple home games already in the Cup. They defeated Brisbane rivals Olympic FC and needed the penalty shootout to get through against Olympic Kingsway in the round of 16. So their first trip away from the state for this season against Avondale FC, who they themselves proved that they have a top quality team. I think they do go through at this stage in the Cup. The Victorian sides have just been really impressive so far this tournament, and I do think Avondale go through to the semi-finals of the Cup this year. For my score prediction, I'm going for a 2-0 win for Avondale. It's a Saturday night primetime kickoff. Sydney FC, Auckland FC, 2 of the biggest clubs, I think we can say, in the A-League men's competition. 2 matchups across the past season between these 2 teams. Win early on in the season at home for Auckland, and then a 2-2 draw in Sydney. For Sydney FC, they've been fielding some pretty youthful lineups for their games so far in their wins against Western United and Sydney United 58 as well. Reece Yuli's been looking promising. Al Hassan Toure scored on starting debut in the round of 16. They do have some really dangerous players in that lineup of Sydney FC, and they look like they could prove a real threat for this upcoming A-League men's season. But Auckland FC, man, have looked very comfortable so far in the Australia Cup. Wins against Gold Coast Knights and South Melbourne, and so far yet to concede a goal in the Australia Cup. And they've got sights on, they won the premiership last year. The first trophy that they could win, they won it. There's a serious chance here that Auckland FC could be the first team outside of Australia to win the Australia Cup. It could happen considering how strong this team is and the lineups that head coach Steve Corica has been fielding in these games. He hasn't been resting his star players. The likes of Guillermo May, Logan Rogers and Felipe Gallegos are starring in these matches for Auckland FC. They were without key defender Nando Painaka for that round of 16 matchup against South Melbourne, but if he's back, that's a huge boost for Auckland FC. I tell you what, I am going to back Auckland. I just think you look at the squads overall at this current point in time, Auckland still has such a well-established, strong squad. It's basically the same lineup almost from what we saw them playing week in, week out in the A-League last season, and they're already, ticking along really well. Whereas Sydney FC, maybe still, providing minutes to younger players, maybe still yet to bring in some star players for their lineup. So I feel like Auckland FC may well just have the edge in this game. But I think it will be close. I'd be surprised if Auckland was to run away with this. I think Sydney FC will match them. Wouldn't be surprised if it does go to a penalty shootout. I'm going to say a 3-2 win, though. Maybe a high-scoring match. 3-2 win for Auckland FC here to go through to the semi-finals. Another all A-League matchup. Newcastle Jets hosting Macarthur SC up in Maitland. Both teams have been impressive so far in the Cup. This new era at Newcastle Jets. Mark Milligan, their head coach, has got Newcastle Jets looking pretty good early on. Wins so far in the Cup against Adelaide United, and then in the round of 16 against Cooks Hill United, their Newcastle rivals. A 5-0 win in that game. New signings Alex Badalado and Max Burgess have been looking really impressive. I was at that Cooks Hill United Newcastle Jets game in the round of 16, and those guys were really running the show for Newcastle Jets. Sort of allowed to play a free role as almost two attacking midfielders. Macarthur will have to be on their game, especially in the midfield area, just to lock those players down, because if Burgess and Badalado get freedom, if they can get on the ball and start dictating things, they look like a real dangerous team, Newcastle Jets. Look, Jets are in this stage where they're still integrating some of their younger players into the squad, but they've still been performing really well. Some of those young guys have actually really impressed. But Macarthur SC, I think we've been really impressed with what we've seen from the Bulls so far. Again, their new signings integrating really well into that lineup. Milan Stojowski's doing a good job with the likes of Anthony Caceres, Callum Talbot, Harry Politidis. Bernardo Oliveira scored a really nicely taken goal in the round of 16 in that win against Metro Stars. So this one's a tricky one to call for me. Now, I think you've got two teams who feel like they're at a pretty similar level right now, but I think Macarthur SC, sort of similar to what I was saying about Auckland, it feels like they have a bit more of a more established squad at the moment, whereas Newcastle Jets, we're yet to see Irish centre-back Joe Shaughnessy. Maybe he comes into this game. We'll keep an eye on that one as well. But I think Macarthur may well just have a bit too much experience and quality in the end to overcome Newcastle Jets. But again, it's a tricky one to call. None of these predictions I'm really all that super strong on, to be honest. All these games could swing either way. So that's why they're, 4 fantastic quarterfinal matchups. But I will back Macarthur SC for the win here. They're turning into the Cup specialists. They've got eyes on 2 consecutive Australia Cups here, which would be huge for Macarthur SC. So I say the Bulls win here. Let's go 2-1 to Macarthur FC. So if my predictions ring true, that would see Heidelberg United take on Auckland FC in the semi-finals. And the other semi-final would be Avondale FC hosting Macarthur FC. So 2 NPL Victoria sides potentially coming up against A-League sides in the semi-finals. Feel free to throw your predictions in the comment section, join the conversation, hit the like button on the way out, guys. I really appreciate you guys tuning in for these videos. My name's Lucky, and I'll see you in the next one.